Doing the audio. We got always.
Already? One, two, three. TREETOP podcast. CHOWMANE.
Out there today too. A little less smoky out there.
Well, I ain't fire up yet.
Oh well, when you fire up, it's gonna be a different
Yeah,
story.
it's been
for
kind of
sure.
cold actually these last few days.
It has been a little cold
It's
at
been
night.
real
like hella
cold.
hot, and then all of a sudden,
It's a little weird. And
About
then, and then
6?
everyone goes earthquake weather.
yeah, straight up though. All the thunderstorms.
Anytime you have a drastic shift,
Yeah.
earthquake weather. It's
No,
the
no, no,
world.
no. They definitely said we're supposed to be getting a big one sometime this year.
But they've always been saying that.
I mean, I believe them,
We had the little ones pop up. You know that one that was like last weekend.
Yeah.
The
There was
one
in
last
the middle of the
weekend?
night?
bro. It's been hella.
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
all
well
through-
they
yeah.
they always happen in the middle of the night. Why?
That's
sneaky little bastards. God damn
That's
it,
a good
man.
point.
You know what I mean? Especially if you live in like a building,
Yeah.
like you don't know somebody going in a garage, or if it's like your next door neighbors or something.
Right.
Big garage
Yeah,
or something.
yeah.
So
Unless
it's
it's
like,
a big one.
Just rummaging
Unless
around.
it's the big one,
That's
you know
the
what I mean?
perfect time to
Everything's, like,
rummage
shaking
around.
That's not
Yeah.
right.
yeah,
Yeah.
you just never know.
Well, I'm
man.
waiting for the big one. I'm ready for it, man.
Yeah, we got this nice sturdy table right here.
Yeah, I'll
Man,
hide
Right
it.
up
yes.
there on this podcast if it happens.
This table is
Yeah.
sturdy. I never tripped. This is a good
How sturdy this
earthquake
table. No,
table.
I've lifted it last week. Me and Juan lifted it
Yeah.
to flip it around for the setup, and it was horrible. It bends in the middle
Oh, for real?
Oh,
when you lift it on both ends. So you need someone to lift it on both ends, in the middle, on both ends.
Right?
maybe that's not so earthquake steady.
It's not so soft. Can you imagine getting it up here?
No,
Yeah.
no, not at all.
Yeah.
Back there. This is
yeah.
kind of a
Maybe they
Big boy.
built it around it. You know,
Yeah, maybe so. Or they went to Home Depot, got a couple partners.
built the building around it.
Man.
CHOWMANE's with us, man. He's from
CHOWMANE.
You're from San Jose, right?
I'm from San Jose. Thank you for having me out
Okay.
here in Hayward.
He came out to Hayward. Was there any traffic?
No, not too much. You know, I was just taking care of some errands before I came here, so you know.
Okay,
all was
what
good.
errands you took care of, man?
Man, they just recently started making us put our trash cans inside, so it smells like so bad. I had this like steak and lobster night in my house like a few days ago, so I got all the crustacean stuff, waste, and it's making the whole house smell.
Crustacean smells.
What?
So I had to go get a bunch of baking soda from Safeway because I gotta just like put that all up in the trash cans
Yeah.
to suck up all the smell.
Hey, that's smart. That's
Definitely.
an Asian trick.
Wait,
Yeah.
it has to be. It's gotta
do,
be.
do you do that?
I
Do you
take my
maintenance
shit
your
outside.
trash cans? Look, there's only 3 races out there that I think maintenance their trash can. That's
I throw my shit
Indians,
away quick.
Asians.
Black
I don't
people
even
wash
know
their
that
trash cans out too.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
people
white people
watch
do
it.
that. They're like a monthly thing.
I normally
Yeah.
put it outside, but like just like the HOA in my neighborhood, they just like recently told us that if you have the trash cans outside, they're gonna fine like a few $100 or something.
What?
It's a really stupid rule.
HOAs are
So we gotta put
crazy.
it inside in like the garage, and the whole house just smells.
You have
right
to
now.
put your trash on the inside. So you
Yeah.
haven't been going to the HOA meetings.
I haven't.
Have you had an HOA? But have you had an HOA?
Yes, I have HOA
Okay.
right now.
Because if you ever dealt with an HOA, then I totally feel you're coming from.
I
My
go to
last
the
place
meetings.
had an HOA.
I had
I'm on
no
the board.
idea. I just
God
got an
damn it.
email out of nowhere that said, "Hey, you got to move this inside, or we're gonna fine you." And I'm
Yeah.
like, damn, man.
Yeah.
Where do they come up with the fine? How do they deduce
I
that?
don't know.
Oh, yeah, just $200. I mean, who could, like, what calculator?
It's a
do you
nice
use?
round number though, 200.
Yeah, I don't
you
know.
know?
200. Yeah, that hurts them.
It might be like by the number of houses, calculate that divided by
I
5.
think they go off income too, right? Because you have to afford a certain income to even own this house,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can afford these types of.
200 is like pocket change for this guy's HOA.
If he's in a nice neighborhood and sound like Willow Glen, like Serena D would
I'm
be.
in the east side, man.
Okay.
But what part of the east side?
Is that 7
bro?
trees?
No, I mean, it's like 200 total. I got to split between like 2 housemates. But luckily that hasn't happened yet. They just like put this rule in like 2 weeks ago. So
Yeah.
Oh, that's weak.
like we'll find
That's
out.
weak.
A
We'll find out
housemate
what
like
happens.
limit?
Sorry.
What rule? I'm sorry.
Nah,
What-
the trash
We
rule.
got-
Oh,
we
the
got- we
trash
got
rule.
Three,
All
three
right.
people who live in the house. So
Okay.
yeah.
That's a lot of trash.
Yeah, it's a lot of trash.
Wait, so are all you guys rappers too?
Nah, just me.
Just me? Oh, just you? I'm drinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Just so okay. So CHOWMANE, San Jose. So where'd you get the name CHOWMANE? Why is it CHOWMANE?
Well, come on, man. Does that have to?
I mean,
I
it
mean,
came with, it came
did
with
you just-
several reasons. First of all, my name's Charles. When I grew up,
Boom.
my grandparents called me Chow.
Yeah.
Especially like, my mom's mom.
She's Chinese, though.
She's from Shanghai. She doesn't speak any English, and my dad's mom, she speaks a little English, but like both their accents are like when they try to say Charles, they'll say like Chow.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So that's like how they say it.
Okay.
And then just like, that was my nickname a little bit growing up. And then when I got to like high school, that's when I started rapping. And I think around that time, the Hangover movie just came out, and a bunch of kids were like, "Oh shit, this Asian dude's rapping." They started calling me Mr. Chow because
yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
I love
And your name's already Chow though.
Well, you went with that.
Yeah,
You didn't.
yeah,
you
no,
like
just like,
embraced
okay.
it though.
Yeah, I mean, it was like at the time I was like, okay, whatever.
So
That's cool, man.
you're Japanese?
Chinese.
Chinese.
I'm like full blood Chinese, but my dad's side of the family, they're from Vietnam. But they're also like they're ethnically Chinese.
Chinese.
They just like they went there when Japan like attacked China during World War II. They all fled to Vietnam, and so they all like grew up there.
Yeah.
But it's just like if you're Chinese American, your blood's Chinese, but you kind of grew up here.
For sure.
That's interesting.
So it's that same thing.
I gotta say, Chinese are the most adaptive to American culture. You know,
Oh,
what
you
I
think
mean?
so?
I think so. Like, especially just like, well, China compared to all the other Asian countries, they're the most like financially adaptive, right? Like they
They're
the way they do economy and stuff. You
I
know
think
what
definitely
mean?
there's been like waves, right? Like the first Chinese people who came here back in like the 1800s, like with the gold rush and everything, like it was a lot tougher for them. But like in the last maybe like I would say 40, 50 years, like a lot of the new generation of, immigrants from
sure.
Asian countries, I think there's been like different policies because it used to be where like, most people were like coming to America for like a better life because they're poor back in the old country. And like, I don't know, since like the 80s or something, or I forget when, 64, they had like these immigration acts that basically said like, if you're poor, you can't come here. Like if you want to immigrate here, you have to have like professional skills or whatever. So like that's why a lot of like the newer immigrants are like a little better off. They're a little more professional.
They can
skilled.
be bums.
Yeah.
Or they can't be.
they can't be. Their mind is already at another place. They're trying to do some things.
Yeah.
Shoot the touchdown.
So, there's like a lot of like the recent, I mean, not like super recent, but last like 30, 40 years, I think immigrants have been like a little better off than the OG Chinese that came here like
that's for
way
sure.
back when.
It's crazy to see how they marketed the immigrants for workers when you go to like the old posters and stuff, because they always label like Chinese not the greatest like enduring workers outside, like, you know what I mean? Like they wouldn't last as long as like other
Right,
races.
you gotta have them indoors.
But they were good for like the railroads, because like I guess it had to do with the preciseness of the
it was
work
like,
or whatever, something like that. But,
I forget exactly what it was. I like read a little bit about this back in the day.
Yeah, just how they were how Asians were marketed as workers, and it's just interesting to see how they were like talked
it
about.
was like a lot of them went to California, did the railroads, and then like a lot of them got pushed out. In like once that was over, the only jobs like available left were like stuff that was considered like a woman's work, so like restaurants and like laundromats, and that's why most of them ended up there, because like normal
being tailors and
Americans
shit.
didn't want to like do that.
There's a
type of
sex
stuff.
trade too, and that kind of stuff, and there was a lot of other stuff. And
So
But yeah, that's a little bit.
yeah.
Anyway,
are you like second generation, first generation, third?
no, I'm first generation. So my dad's side of the family, they're refugees from Vietnam from the war.
Okay.
So they came here like 76, 78. And then my mom, she came from China, and she came as like a newspaper bride. Like my parents met.
Straight
through
up.
the
No
newspaper.
way.
Yeah, so like my dad had like newspapers out in like China.
But he's
that's how they used to, like,
Chinese
do
though
stuff.
too, so
He's
it's not as
Chinese.
Yeah,
creepy.
but he
That's
out
more
there in
creepy
Vietnam
when
though. He
you're
like,
white,
look, I need
yeah,
me a
like-
Chinese. I need. I'm
I
trying
think that's
to.
part of like a
Yeah.
cut.
Trying to do something.
Yeah. I think like it was a little different though. I don't know how that whole thing happened.
didn't have an
I think it wasn't like arranged.
They do a lot of arranged marriages.
But it was, it wasn't arranged because like once my mom came over, there was like a lot of drama with them. They eventually like got divorced. But it was like more between like my dad's family and her, because my grandparents, they all thought that she was like this gold digger. Like, they're like, oh, we came here from the war. We started from nothing. We built ourselves up in these last like 20 years and whatever. And then like my mom came over, and then she didn't. So my dad's side of the family, they speak Cantonese, which is what they speak in like southern China and Hong Kong, and like a lot of the Vietnamese Chinese people speak Cantonese, and my mom spoke Mandarin. She's from like Shanghai,
Northern China.
So they kind of did. Yeah. So she learned.
I got a little Chinese. I got a little
She
bit.
learned Cantonese like when she came here, and then vice versa, and they got along and everything. But then like at some point after when I was born, she was like, okay, both of them had to work a lot to take care of me and whatnot.
Yeah.
So my mom was like, all right, I want to be like her mom, so my grandma, she wanted to bring her over to like take care of me while they're both working, because you know
Right.
they were, you know,
My grandma did, yeah.
my dad's side, they're all working at the restaurant. My mom, you know, she worked like at the restaurant. She worked another job, like she
12-hour
was trying to
days
be a nurse.
probably, yeah.
And then my grandma on my dad's side was like, no, you're just trying to bring your whole family here, and they're gonna like live off our wealth, so we're not gonna do that. So they had like this big fight, and they're basically like, all right, you got to choose between, you know, your mom or us. And then my mom's like, well, I can't give up. Like that's my like basically my dad's mom was like, you can't see your family again. Like you can't bring them to America because they're gonna leech off us. And then my mom's like, well, I can't choose between. I mean, I'm not gonna choose you guys over like my own family, my blood. So then you know that basically.
That's
that
got to be a
transpired.
common scenario, though, right? Because like the whole proposition is that you're here, they're there. You're obviously in a way saying we're rich. We got more money than an opportunity you probably have where you're at, and that's kind of the pre. I mean,
I mean, the thing was too though. My grandma didn't even really want to move here. Like it was just more like to take care of me. You know, when I was a kid, right?
Okay,
But it was just like I don't know, like people look into that stuff. I don't know how you know.
it's
Yeah,
a
they
tough
probably
thing.
saw it
I'm sure
differently.
that happens a lot, though.
Yeah,
It sure happens a lot.
Yeah, so that's what put you in the east side San Jose, and that's where you grew up.
So I grew up between San Jose and Salinas because
Okay.
my parents divorced when I was 5. So I started just going between the two cities because my mom stayed in Salinas and my dad moved to San Jose with my aunt. He lived with my aunt for a long time. When I got to high school, he finally like moved out on his own place, like a little mobile home out on King Road. And then just recently he just got his own house for the first time in like 20 years, like 2 years ago.
Nice.
So, yeah,
In the
that's
Bay
been
Area
journey.
too, which is not easy, my friend.
Yeah.
He was thinking about it though. He,
He
stayed with
probably
his
has an
sister.
HOA where he's at
Stayed
too.
with his
so-
sister.
She
Stacked.
was stacking up for a long time.
Stacking.
Basically.
20 bands down. Any Asian, so they don't.
Another
you know,
Asian
like, they
trait,
got-
stacking.
Come on, man. Come on.
No,
Yeah.
I was. So can I tell the joke I was telling off air? It was,
Oh shit, man! Is it racist?
Well, do you notice like okay? So this is what I noticed because I'm an event promoter
Oh shit.
and I'm in a lot of subgroup cultures and stuff like that. So like, let's say if you're in a group right where like all the people are not black, but there's like white and Asian or whatever, and then you have like 2 black people. They'll eventually like go up to each other. They don't know each other, and they'll be like, "Hey, what's up?" You know, and they'll give each other their respect. But like, let's just say I saw you across the room, and it was just us, and it was like an all, hip hop crowd or whatever, and we.
Oh, all the way across the
Yeah, I'm not gonna go up to like
You're not gonna be
CHOWMANE
like-
and be like, "What's up, my guy?" And
Like
you know
dap
what I
up?
mean? Give him a
Yeah.
dap, like like
Yeah, you're in here.
We're here. Like
So
I would just be like, "Oh, there's another Asian guy." There's 2 of
Yeah, I
us.
feel like it depends too on the context of the situation. But yeah, I think in broad
If we
events,
didn't know
like
each other,
yeah,
you know.
like if we had like no mutual people, between us, and yeah, it would just be kind of random.
It's a little,
still.
you notice that though? Like American Asians don't do that. I hate that. I'm like, we should come together and greet each other. And
So is that because you guys are like?
'Cause I like when black people do that. That's like cool, man. They're acknowledging each other. But like,
I don't know. It's kind of deep though, man. Because if you think about it,
because
So-
you guys have the struggle and all that. We, so it's different.
I don't know. Because it ends up being sometimes the motherfuckers be haters. Are you guys inherently haters too?
I
A
think
little bit, yeah.
I feel like
So
Other Asians
it's like
hate
between
me.
between
Do other
between
Asians hate-
Asians and like the different kinds of Asians, there's like that tension. But I think like within my generation, it's not as prevalent.
not as
I
tension. I
definitely know
don't feel it.
before.
Yeah.
Like
There's a little tension,
like,
you're right.
My parents' generation was definitely like
Tension.
for
sure.
everybody had beef with the Japanese, especially Koreans. They hated
Yeah.
Japanese, Chinese. They didn't like
Yeah.
them. And then there's like a lot of beef with like I don't know some like older Vietnamese. They don't like Chinese people. It's all the context of like of
Okay,
what happened
for
back
sure.
east because like everyone was like colonizing each other back then. So there's a bunch of like hatred.
that's what. That's probably what it kind of stems from.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But
We
I
hate
definitely
each
think
other.
it's like now,
Back there, at least.
like this generation, there's like a lot more since like that stuff isn't as like prevalent. People are more like Americanized, born in this culture,
California,
especially in like California.
California.
Like
don't.
people are just more used to it. But I do know that there's pockets of like different kinds of Asians. Up in the Bay Area, we definitely got a lot more Chinese, Vietnamese, and like Filipinos.
Yeah.
You go down to LA, it's a lot of Koreans.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's
That's
it
gonna be my
depends.
next question, yo. Do you speak like Tagalog? That's like the most.
That's Filipino though. He's
I
not
know,
Filipino.
but I'm saying like that's the most spoken language on the West Coast.
Tagalog is the
Yeah.
most
I saw-
spoken
I
language
heard,
on the
like,
more than Spanish.
Yes, bro.
I think Daly City is like the biggest population of Filipinos outside the Philippines or something.
Yeah,
That's
man.
what my
Fact.
girl told me.
So it's
Those are
fact,
facts.
dog.
Those
So
are
I
facts.
don't know if that's racist or not, but I just was wondering.
I have a thing for Filipino women actually. So yeah, that's pretty common.
Dog. I don't know. I like them.
Yeah. Well, they're very fiery,
I love
dark
them.
skinned.
I love those little
They're very mean.
nipples.
Whoa! Can you don't what?
That's what they be, man.
Man, you're sending weird images.
Hey, man,
In
that's
my
what it
head.
is.
Yeah.
Hey. See, that's your head, bro. I'm
That's
just being
pretty weird.
honest. I'm just being honest.
You're Americanized.
See, you're Americanized.
So you're an Americanized Asian. You consider yourself, right?
Yeah. Between two worlds, I guess. I mean, I think there's a lot of people in my shoes too.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
definitely growing up with immigrant parents and just adapting to, both cultures, because your culture at home is different from how it is when you go to school and you're out in the world and everything.
Oh, it's very different. I don't think they like you rapping. Do they like you rapping?
Yeah, that was my next question. Like, which side is more supportive of the rap?
I don't think they don't really care. I mean, they both know I was into music since I was a kid. Like most like Chinese moms. When I was like 5 years old, she enrolled me at the YMCA. I took like piano lessons. I had like this.
They're into that music for sure.
Yeah.
My mom
The
was like
instruments.
never really into music in general. Like she more was like, all right, play piano. Like she liked a little like Chopin and whatever.
Right.
But she didn't really listen to music. My dad, on the other hand, he like grew up here. He when they came as refugees, they're all in high school. So I think he was a sophomore or junior in high school.
Oh,
So
snap.
when I grew up, he like played a lot of music for me, and it wasn't usually hip hop. Like he played a lot of like I think he was into like New Jack Swing and like freestyle.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like
Wow.
No, that's cool
He was a
music,
lot
though.
in yeah. So he would play like the old school station a lot. Every morning, like I just remember it would be like. Commodore's Gap Band, Key Sweat, whatever.
Oh, well,
just on
you
the
listened
radio.
to that growing. I didn't listen to that growing up. I listened to weird Korean music in my house. So it was. So
Well,
that's
so
cool. You had that.
That's what I
experience.
listened to growing up. And then my uncle, he was like a few years younger than my dad. So when I was a little kid, growing up, my dad would be working more, so I didn't really see him that much. My uncle was the one who would pick me up from school, and he listened to hip hop. So he kind of got me into hip hop in the first place. Just like introduced me to everything, and he was a lot more into like just like West Coast stuff. I guess his like friends put him on, but he had a lot of CDs, a big old collection. I remember the first two CDs. He had Too Short, Married to the Game.
The classic, right?
Classic.
And
That was one of
Doggy
my
Style.
early ones too.
So
And what else?
Doggy Style.
And Doggy
Doggy
Style.
Style.
Classic joints.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes. So you
You
was
were
getting
raised
some
right.
real
You
good
was raised
music
right.
real early though.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know what the hell was going on when I was a little kid, and with
mean,
their
yeah,
time
that
for
was
music.
great.
But that's like kind of what I was
Subconsciously
listening
though, it was
to.
like
Yeah,
you was
a
getting
little
put
bit.
on to some really.
And then just like when I got probably around the time I was in like fourth grade, whenever like LimeWire started getting big, my uncle used
Yeah.
to. So like
Yeah.
at that time, my parents were already divorced, but my uncle used to have me just like come over to his house like every weekend, and he'd have a list of songs for me to download off of LimeWire for him because he didn't know how to use
He didn't
LimeWire.
pay you?
No, he didn't pay me, bro. I sat there for like 3 hours every like Saturday,
Oh.
and like half the time he wouldn't even know the name of the song. He's like, all right, here's the lyrics. It goes something like, and then he would sing it to me, and then I'd have to like Google the lyrics and then like play a bunch of these YouTube links to see if this is a song, and then until we found it, and that would just be like every
Love
weekend.
LimeWire. Oh my god.
Yo, that was
Love
probably your favorite
LimeWire.
uncle, though, huh? Yeah, he's probably just hanging out.
Did
Yeah,
you use
he
LimeWire?
was just kicking it,
Yeah,
bro.
I use LimeWire. Just kicking it
Yeah.
though, but playing music, but at the same time, like, damn, that's kind of
I mean,
dope
he
though.
put me
Yeah.
onto a lot of music just through that though.
Yeah,
'cause,
hell
like,
Oh, so you discovered it.
Yeah.
yeah,
You
I
didn't
mean,
hear or knew about it.
I mean, I listened to the music that was like on the radio and the stuff that the CDs he had, but like once LimeWire came around,
Yeah.
that's like when he started playing a lot of these like more obscure songs and like
Hip hop though, or
hip hop, a lot of freestyle. He was like hella into freestyle, so he was super into like Stevie B, like Lisa, Colt Jam, like a bunch of artists like that.
wow.
So yeah,
That's cool, man. LimeWire saved me a lot of money. I used to go to Rasputin's, man, and buy albums.
Come on, man.
Man, they save so much
I used to
money.
make mixtapes off of the LimeWire stuff.
Whatever.
What? Come on.
You gonna dig
bro.
one up?
there's another thing he used to do, man. He, back when Blockbuster was still around, he had this like big old wall in the living room so everyone lived at my grandma's house out in Seaside, but this whole wall was just a bunch of DVDs, like ripped DVDs. So every 2 days, whenever he picked me up from school, he would take me to Blockbuster. He rent out like 3 movies, and then just burn them onto these CDs. And like he
Yeah.
wouldn't even watch them. You just have like this big old collection, just in case you ever wanted to watch a DVD.
Yeah. Man, damn, my dad still does that shit. Damn. No,
Yeah,
so
man.
okay, so it definitely sounded like you were brought up right, and experiencing things in the Bay Area and shit, man. I know that the Bay Area seems to kind of a little different, man. What were you listening to in high school and things like
In
that?
high school.
What era is that? What year is that, by the way?
So I started high school 2009. So around I was getting a lot into like the Dat Piff era. So when Wayne was getting big, or I mean Wayne was already when he was having like his mixtape run.
He had different
you know,
eras, though. He
Yeah.
had different eras.
Yeah, I
Mixtape, Wayne era.
Like right after like Carter 3 came out, and then I was digging into all those like Drought 3, Dedication 2, all those tapes and whatever, and then like all the dudes who were popping up in like 2010, that whole class. So that's like kind of what I was listening to in high school. So like I don't know, Big Sean, Wale, like
I love Sean back in 2000. Yeah.
everybody who's coming up in that time was So those are the artists I was listening to up till then. And then I think I wasn't really getting into like older stuff till I got like a little older. After high school, maybe like towards the end, I was like listening to a lot more like classics and going back to like what my uncle came up listening to. So I got of course I always knew like a few songs here and there of like whoever's hot in the Bay, whatever hyphy was going on at the same time. Like I think kids at the time were listening to a lot of like Andre Nicotina. This dude from Sacramento, Woody. I remember that dude.
I remember Woody. Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, and a bunch of like some horrorcore. So people were into horrorcore. I remember like
Horrorcore's big. Horrorcore was big.
People were into. So yeah, I mean, just like a little bit of everything, But like, I started like really digging in more on like just like hip hop in general, like past what I knew locally and past, like I didn't even like really get East Coast hip hop until like I got a little older too, because I was like, man, they're saying too many words.
Too much rapping, huh?
I mean, like, I could appreciate it, but it's just like, like at that time, I feel like I wasn't processing what they were saying because I was more familiar with what was around me. So like stuff
it's
that
not
people,
cool. I mean, I get it.
Stuff that people were
sense.
talking about, like in like Bay Area artists, like I feel like I could like when people talked about like cities that I knew of and like places that I had been to, if it was like a little more relevant to me.
The same slang that you use.
Man, see, this is why I knew that going regional would work, because these kids would like being more familiar with her. I'd rather
No, for sure.
Us, we grew up in that New York era. New York kind of gave us that, right? Like we were older, and I kind of thank New York for that and all that. But
I mean, there were definitely like New York artists I liked, like in high school, like but I remember like one of the first ones I was getting into was like Big L, because like his punchlines.
Oh, you know about Big L?
Yeah, but like one, I had a little hard time, to be honest, when I was first listening to like the Wu-Tang guys. I was like listening to Raekwon and Ghostface. I'm like, I don't know what these guys are saying, dude.
My friends loved Wu-Tang.
Yeah, Wu-Tang was always been for the kids.
But I'm gonna be honest, there's sometimes I didn't like Wu-Tang too. I'm gonna be hella honest. I knew they were the pioneers of hip hop, and I totally get that. But that's all. I don't know. Props to Wu-Tang. They're amazing, but I don't think they struck a chord like with this younger generation.
I think
rather than Too Short would or something like that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, like Too Short,
especially on this side of the map.
Especially on this side of the West Coast, because I think it's just colder in New York. You're gonna talk faster and rap faster and do stuff faster, but in the West, it's hot. Like you can't rap that fast.
I don't know. It's just a little different technique, man. Like if and when you go out to New York, you're gonna see they have this a little bit different approach to everything.
I have noticed that. I did my first show out in New York like last year in November, and I noticed like when me and my manager were planning like the set list, like a lot of the sets that we play out here, usually we're playing for like clubs or like college parties and stuff. So we don't want to play. We want to play stuff that's more like people not care about what you're saying. You just want to like a nice beat. Do other stuff during the set to like help the crowd like. Turn up, have a good time, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Versus the East Coast show, I think a lot more people like they fuck with it. We going like acapella. We doing just like some of the
bars,
more, like album cuts.
Yeah,
aren't stuff that. I try to perform some of the more like wordy songs out here. Like I tried it once at a club and that was a mistake. Like people just stopped paying attention. I was like, all right, I'm not gonna do this again. I'll have a tour contest instead. Versus at least the few New York shows I played, I only played like 2. Were a lot more, involved in that sense. So
I hate this. There's like 2 sides of it. It's like high school. There's like the nerdy side of hip hop, and there's like the popular kid side of hip hop. And I felt like what kind of started out was like that other side, the more technical side. You know
definitely.
I mean? But then like the popular kids took it over.
Well,
and that's why people are mad about the lyrical content that's out and the numbers that back it up.
Like when I started, writing, it was more like I wanted to pay more attention. Like what got me more into hip hop was like when I was coming up, a lot of people were like doing punchline raps, and I was like, punchline rap is it. I wanted to like write shit that made
rap?
Like stuff like
punchline,
right,
ludicrous
so, like,
flow.
Yeah, like Luda, like Wayne, Big Sean, like Gambino, those dudes around that like 2010 era were doing
It's hard to
that
do it with conviction though. It's hard to do it and sound likable.
Because you gotta really be good.
But not everyone sounds likable though.
A lot of the times,
because you have to really live shit though too.
But it's like a lot of times it's corny, but I liked that corniness. Growing up, I thought a lot of people like clowned on like Fab and like Big Sean, like what's a King Los? We're like, that shit was corny, like whatever they say. I thought it was corny, but it was like so corny. It was
with
funny.
certain people.
It was like so corny. It was funny. Yeah. So I kind of liked doing
dry
that style
humor.
at first.
People appreciate that. Yeah.
So I started out writing a bunch of stupid shit like that when I was like in high school, middle school, whatever. When I started rapping, but definitely like I think that difference between just focusing on just like wordplay, whatever, versus trying to put together a cohesive song, especially one that's gonna do well on like in like shows or whatever. Be more to like a broad appealing audience. That's like something I didn't even really like try paying attention to till like maybe like 2 years ago or something.
All right.
So it's definitely a different mindset when you're going into
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Go ahead.
So, how long have you been at this rap thing? Like,
So
really putting it on wax?
I didn't start doing it like seriously probably 2017. That was my first, when I first started putting out releases, videos, everything. I think actually my first video didn't come out till like 2018, so maybe like 2 years ago.
Well, you started 2 years ago. Yeah. You kind of have a following on Instagram already, though. I mean.
Yeah, I mean that really happened. I had this song. So I've been doing music for a little while, just like for fun. But back in 2015, I had this song that I put out with my friend on SoundCloud called ABG. And that was about like Asian baby girls, that whole like subculture in like the South Bay, the Bay Area.
Asian baby girl, what's the Asian?
I think I heard about that.
Yeah, so it's in the Asian community. Asian baby girl, it's been around since like the 90s. It used to have like a totally different context than it has today. Okay. But back then it used to be like these the Asian girl, the girls you saw in like Fast and Furious, the ones who dated like Asian gangsters, flip drugs, like dressed up like
baby doll type
import
shit.
cars, yeah, exactly. I mean, and he used to be like kind of like a negative connotation too. Like people were kind of scared of ABGs. They like beat your ass and shit.
Yeah.
But like within, I would say maybe like last like 10 years, 5-10 years, I don't know. It's like changed with this new generation. People refer to it more like these girls that like wear a lot of eyeliner, long lashes, go to raves, drink boba. It's a different. It's a lot more like,
it's a lot less intimidating, man.
Oh, yeah, definitely got softer.
Couple bobas and balls in there.
Yeah.
But it's like a lot more, I think a more mainstream and palatable, subculture now. And like, traditionally, like
one now.
people.
I was gonna say everybody loves Asian baby girls. Everybody loves them.
People. It was always like. That's what, like maybe like 5-6 years ago I started noticing like girls call themselves ABGs and stuff, and that's like something you would never do. Like you didn't want to be an ABG, right? Like that was just like kind of insult, Yeah. But now like people, especially like I seen like the TikTok stuff popping up too, like a lot of people doing like ABG stuff. So anyway, like 2015 I had this song. It was like a joke song just talking about ABGs. And that like it started. I put it on SoundCloud. It started making its way around like some of the Asian like sororities, frats, whatever at like USC, like UC Berkeley, a few like the California schools.
Nice.
And so that had a little bit of traction.
So they played it at parties, you think,
yeah, but
right?
it was like
or
super
functions.
rough, like not like mixed down version.
For
like,
you, but it was the concept. All those songs that do like YG's first song was mixed horrible.
Oh yeah, because it's probably at the partner studio.
Remember
at the
YG's
homie
first?
studio.
You remember YG's first? What was that song called?
The shit with him and Ty.
The first big one, like Tooted and Booted.
Tooted and Booted.
Yeah.
The song was mixed horribly.
Oh,
Listen to that song, but go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I had that song for a little minute, and then by the time I put out my first project in 2017, I was kind of going through my old songs I was doing for fun, and I decided to redo that one for real.
All right.
And this dude heard it on set of one of the music videos I was filming for the project, and he's like, "Bro, I want to like fund this for you. I think this is for the culture."
Hollywood guy. No.
Yeah, he's like, "This is for the culture. I'll give you $5,000. You let me direct it. You let me put everything together for you.
What did he want out of it? He gives you $5,000. He owns that, or what?
No. So he just wanted a cut of the revenue that the video brought back. And he wanted, he was like starting out directing. He had a little money too.
Okay.
So he wanted to have this like on his like what's
so it's on his resume,
whatever.
Yeah, on his channel and stuff like that too.
Yeah, because he was like, I think this has like potential to like be a big thing for the culture, whatever.
Right.
And so we put together that video, and it started going viral on all the like Asian pages, all the Asian meme pages and whatever. And so I think that's where a lot of the traction like came from initially.
Pretty cool.
So that like jumped me from like being just starting out, and then like now. It's been like 2 years since that song came out, like officially, and sometimes in San Jose I walk into like these coffee shops, like parties, whatever, people playing that video and shit on the TV.
That's dope. That's dope.
But you know, at the same time, for me, that was like it was like a joke song, you know. So I was like, I don't want this to represent, you know,
Who you are as an artist.
Yeah.
I think I know what happened to ABGs and why they got so soft, bro. It was Gwen Stefani.
Gwen
Is she an
Stefani.
ABG?
Nah,
Is she original ABG?
No, she would always have those dancers, dog. Those soft ass.
Those Asian
little
dancers?
Asian dancers.
Janet
always
Jackson, too, but that's before his
Man.
time, but I'm saying.
They used to always look fucking gangster, straight face dancing and shit, though.
Right.
But that kind of softened them up. I think
Right.
so.
I
think so.
agree. I agree
I
with
think
you
so.
on that.
No,
Shout
that's
out
hard
Gwen
though.
Stefani.
No, shout out ABGs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So you know,
I'm trying to find me an ABG right now. 'Cause I've never felt like I've seen one. I've been in San
you're
Jose a
in the right
lot.
area, bro.
Yeah, well,
I
yeah.
mean, pretty much originated in like San Jose, San Francisco.
No, I definitely need.
Well, I've been born in the East Bay.
What's next though?
Yeah,
Yeah. So I got a project coming out this month called South Bay Summer,
nice.
and so
September.
September. Yeah. I think the date tentatively is like the 25th. I gotta go and make some edits tomorrow night at the studio.
Right.
Before I send it to the distributor to put out. But yeah, a few of the singles I've been dropping like in these last few months. Late Nights with Kit May, Silk Road with All Black, Ice JJ Fish will go up to 4000.
Yeah, I see you doing some pretty cool features
hold
lately,
on,
man.
We gotta say it. So, a lot of people may not have heard of what's going on.
They
just
heard of
now.
who is All Black.
Really going on. So you got All Black. You got
How was it like working with All Black? Can I
Yeah.
ask
I mean,
you?
that was a straight up.
Were you in the studio with him?
Nah, dude. So I hit on my manager. I was like, all right, I need a verse for this song. Who should I hit up? He's like, bro, hit up All Black. I got his manager's contact right here. So that was
Yeah.
just like
Good move.
we didn't even link up for that one. That was just like, all right, send him the song, send a verse back, and pretty straightforght on that.
On the business side
Yeah.
and all that.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
he's
that was
always-
just straight business.
Yeah. But that's great.
All
Yeah.
Black.
No, I mean, he sent it back fast?
Yeah, him and Guap that both sent it back like the day after.
Professional.
Yeah, no,
right?
I mean,
That's professional.
All Black. He's always professional. It's never bad with him, right?
No, I've talked to his
Yeah.
manager about a show before the whole Corona thing. So
Definitely.
yeah, they're on
Definitely.
point.
So,
Yeah.
got Guap Dad,
Yeah.
All Black.
And then I got a few other features. The others are, a lot of independent artists. So I got Kit May on the song called Late Nights. She's from San Jose, super talented, R&B pop singer. I got
It's part of the ambiance. Sorry.
Yeah, that's the background.
I got this dope this Filipino rapper from SAC. His name Rudy Calma.
Okay.
Okay.
He's super dope. He's a little out of his bag on this one because my project's a lot more lighthearted and he's a lot more on like some more seriously musical like
And why'd you seek him
Shit.
out? I mean, you like this stuff.
I did a few shows with him and I was like, man, I got like this dude can rap, and he's got just everything like pure, he's like a Filipino like Isaiah Rashad,
Okay.
Oh,
so
shit.
like
Like Isaiah Rashad?
yeah.
I think Isaiah Rashad's good.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. So I mean, he's like super dope, super talented. And then my bro Sahi, he's his. I got a whole project with this dude coming out later too, but he's also he raps, but he mostly like sing raps a little bit. Anyway, these are I think that's everybody on the project, and then a bunch of like producers. But yeah, that's coming out in a few weeks.
Yeah.
September?
The whole purpose of that was like I really wanted to put on a little more for like the South Bay, and I feel like a lot of Bay Area hip hop is centered around a lot of people from the East Bay and North Bay, SF, and there's definitely a lot of talent down in the South Bay.
For sure. They don't get enough light. We know. They need more light.
It's a different sound in the South
It
Bay.
It is. It's a different
sound,
vibe,
bro.
though.
It's a different
It's
sound.
a different
that,
vibe. It's a cool mix of Asian, Mexican, and
Yeah,
white.
Yeah,
I would
it's a-
say there's a lot of
There's not a
people
lot of
doing
big
different
community
stuff.
of black people in San Jose. Though.
No, it's a different
That's their
vibe.
only knock, though.
Yeah,
And
no,
that's why I
it's
feel like
just
the hip hop community kind of sucks.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a different vibe. I think it's not bad. It's just
It's not bad.
It's just different.
I mean, I
It's
seen
just
like
different.
I've gone to a few shows out in San Jose with a lot of like local artists, and a lot of people. I think this is the Bay in general, but a lot of people are doing like the SOB sound right now, and a lot of people just sound like the SOB rappers. But there's a few people who are like differentiating a little bit from that. Doing some people are like doing a lot more. I think like soulful, jazzy stuff, and some
Right.
people are a lot more aggressive with it.
Yeah.
And doing like this like really like rock influenced, like hard rock.
I hear that more instead of the
type
rock
of stuff.
influence.
Yeah. I think there's that culture a lot.
There's been a lot of cool groups that come out of San. There's a horror core group that came out of San Jose. That
See, that's what I mean, though. That's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah,
it's
they
a
get
different.
the whole battle rap scene.
Yeah,
Came.
yeah.
Dude, that was worldwide, man.
The battle rap scene. That
I heard
was in San
Disaster
Jose.
came out from New York. just to go battle rap in San Jose in that era.
I didn't know that.
I mean, the battle
Yeah.
rap scene that was in San Jose.
You remember that
were
time?
there. You were.
I was all
you
in
were-
that
you were
mix.
part
I
of the-
know. I was part of it. Yeah, and it was amazing because it just went from like we were watching on YouTube and we didn't realize the whole world was watching that battle. But that was the only battle rap stuff going on, and that was before Smack and URL.
Yeah.
And then
it
Smack
was.
and URL was big. Then that wasn't even a question.
Yeah, and they came right after it because they had all that.
That was a different league of battle rapping almost.
sure.
You know what I mean?
For
That was a
sure.
little bit more, you know.
That was like King of the Dot era and all that, right?
Yeah. King of the Dot was after Grind Time.
Yeah. Grind Time. That's what it was.
Grind Time.
Grind Time.
That was huge, man. The views and that guy,
Yeah.
you know, who
Yeah,
would
yeah.
host it. And like, didn't Eminem copy his character for that movie that he made? And shit
Yeah,
like
it was-
that?
it
That's
was-
crazy,
Yeah,
right?
man, it
Like,
was something like that.
that's a little crazy.
I didn't
So,
know San Jose had that.
That's
battle rap.
that's
San
your
Jose-
culture right there, man.
No, San Jose has always been pretty big in the hip hop scene.
For
Like,
sure, for the hip hop scene, for
Yeah, yeah,
sure. They hate me. They hated me back in the day.
No,
for
I,
real?
Because I promoted the Oakland artists and the artists out here from my, but I'm like, bro, I know I'm Asian, but I'm from the Bay. I'm from the East Bay.
Yeah.
These are the artists I fuck with, and they give me so much like, you're not hip hop, man.
Right.
And,
Well,
you know, like I like Keep the Sneak. I'm not hip hop. Well, then fuck it. I guess I'm not hip hop.
back in the '90s, like shit like that. When I started like DJing and shit, man, it was San Jose State Radio
Yeah. Oh yeah, they were huge.
station and shit. So
Right, the most big underground radio station I think.
Yeah.
In the Bay
San
Area.
Jose State Radio.
Audio Drew, my guy.
exactly.
Handled
So
that for years.
exactly. So that kind of helped that whole San Jose hip hop just kind of community grow from that alone. Dude.
For
And
sure.
then that kind of just stayed around certain small pockets of San Jose in the hip hop community.
For sure.
From that until shit, dude, like 20, you know what I mean, like the early 2000s, dog.
Yeah.
So
Hey, we got that beat ready? Any beat? Do we have any beat on there?
Play the one from
what, you gonna freestyle, CHOWMANE?
I wasn't planning on.
That's enough. You're like, what?
That's not really my vibe. No, we're not doing it. That's not my vibe. See, they wanted me to ask the artist,
Yeah.
and I'm like, that's not the vibe that we're doing. We're doing the coffee shop, Starbucks talk, and then I'm like, yeah, no, freestyle.
So
It's like,
CHOWMANE-
yes.
No, so chow. So the spelling is like CHOWMANE, but it's not like CHOWMANE.
CHOWMANE.
Yeah, it's like Gucci Mane. I like that.
No, you gotta get Gucci Mane.
Yeah.
That is the ultimate title right
Oh,
there.
Gucci
Gucci Mane
Mane
and
and
Chow
Chow
Mane.
Gucci Mane and CHOWMANE.
And like
on the
it's
track.
at a restaurant, a Chinese restaurant, and Gucci Mane is a dish.
Bro, and
Well-
Gucci Mane is the so.
Two other things. So I started out with the two first reasons like why I started going by CHOWMANE.
Yeah.
The Chow part, and I came up with the name CHOWMANE. That came together. I think I was like a senior in high school.
Okay.
So at that time, people called me Mr. Chow, whatever.
Fun name.
And at that time too, 2011, 2012, Gucci was on his little mixtape run too on that Piff, and I was I was super into like Trap Back 2, like that tape. I fucked with a lot. I'm Up, like all those Gucci Mane tapes. So I was like, yeah. And at that time, I think like a lot of the SoundCloud rappers coming up were adding Mane to their name too. We had like Lil Ugly Man. We had I forget the other dudes.
Ugly man, but
But yeah, so
There's a
you
lot
know,
of mains.
It just kind of worked. And then the other thing was like, I started wanting to represent a little more about like my Chinese American, lens, my experience and whatever through the music as well. So I was like,
For sure.
chow mein as a dish is like a Chinese American dish.
it's like the
And
burrito.
and the music is also, it's not people in China aren't going to be able to relate to this, and people that are fully American aren't going to be able to relate to this, but like there's bits and pieces that they might be able to, but
That's
at
cool.
the end, it's a Chinese American dish, and it's a Chinese American like kind of sound or perspective, whatever.
No,
that
that's
was like
cool.
that was the first
So
like
you hit on the. I think
perspective.
too many Asians be wrong trying to be too Americanized or too Asian.
Ah.
You should be you.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
definitely.
you should
Definitely.
be you, and then
Definitely.
people will respect you. And that's what I notice about other cultures, bro. They don't respect you when you try to be like them.
No, fuck no.
Right?
Yeah,
I'm sorry to
definitely.
say,
I mean,
but like,
especially in
so
hip-hop.
especially your culture, bro.
Yeah.
Y'all do not respect when another culture tries to act more black than they are. Be yourself.
we
If
actually
you a
hate that
nerd,
shit,
yeah,
bro.
because they feel it's demeaning.
It's disrespectful. and
Disrespectful.
demeaning.
Like,
It's like-
if you're around a black, don't talk like more
just
hood.
be
Like,
you,
and we
bro.
know
We-
you're not. Like, if you sound like a nerd, they're perfectly fine. They don't care if you don't know their lingo.
No, just be
but
a
they're gonna
nerd.
really disrespect
Yeah,
you.
man, it's
Yeah.
like it's
If
like when you
you try
have
to
be a nerd, bro.
like
Yeah.
I guess it's how like non-Japanese people feel about white people being hella into anime, trying
Yeah.
to pass off like they're
yeah,
speaking Japanese to people and whatever.
yeah.
Hey,
But-
And when I go to a taqueria, I stop trying to speak Spanish. I thought that shit was cute
Yo.
at first. Like, yo, let me,
All right,
they,
so
they
look.
just look at me like,
So
bro.
look, check this out.
Don't be.
okay, so I did go to college. I graduated, right?
Yeah.
So I studied Chinese for like a whole shit for a year, damn near 2 years.
Right.
Damn.
Chinese was my foreign language.
The
'Cause
hardest one to
Yeah.
learn, bro.
no, that
so
shit,
hard
yo, I had to write calligraphy the whole
It's just the
nine,
syllables,
Joe.
bro.
Like,
Probably know more than I do.
what? That shit's crazy. But like so like the plan was to go build in Africa.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Because I kind of had already saw the whole, just how things was going.
Yeah.
And knowing that Mandarin Chinese was the
Yeah.
most spoken Chinese
in the world and everything.
language in the world. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So you know what I mean? So just you being authentically you, dog, that's kind of dope that you still
Yeah, I like that.
that yeah, your
Yeah.
pocket
Definitely,
right
yeah.
there, man.
Appreciate it.
That's-
Yeah, I mean,
what's up.
it just like it come everything comes out. It's a lot easier to write. It's a lot easier to just like be yourself, especially when everything's just like everything I'm writing about is like from experience, like growing up and just like stuff that I've seen or perceive, you know, versus you know, if it might not be. It's just
definitely.
it's harder to do that.
Hey man, it was a great podcast. I wanted to go longer. We had one after you, so we kind of started late. But man, thanks.
Or yeah,
Yeah,
appreciate
yeah,
you
you saw them
coming
poking
out.
their heads in.
Yeah, the
up
head's
hall.
poking in. But no, that was some great content, man. And I'm glad I got your perspective on stuff from the Chinese American perspective. That was some great content, right?
Most
Man,
definitely.
definitely, man. We could probably gonna drop a CHOWMANE track right behind us if we
Yeah,
get
we'll
this
probably
shit,
have the closing credits if you can send us something.
yeah,
man.
if you send us some, we get your permission and shit. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
I got you. I'll
You know,
you know, hit me with your email and everything.
absolutely.
Get knocked out.
Yeah.
If you want to stick around for our producers podcast too, you can, man. We're gonna have a lot of fun in here. We're gonna invite 3 producers on here.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Man, it's a beast.
What time is it right now?
Definitely, man.
So,
Y'all go
yeah.
check out CHOWMANE. You feel me? Appreciate y'all checking us out, man. Believe. I'm Future. That's CHOWMANE. Appreciate y'all.
We're out.
Appreciate y'all. Thank you.